March 17, 180 AD, Vienna, Danube frontier. Emperor Marcus Aurelius is dying, but not in the way you imagine. His eyes scan the ceiling of the military tent for the last time. The smell of incense mixes with the metallic odor of blood. He knows these are his final hours, but there is something no one knows, something he will take to the grave, or almost, because there is a witness, and that witness never spoke until now. Marcus Aurelius was not just an emperor, he was a philosopher, a thinker, the man who wrote meditations while commanding legions, the last of the so-called 5 good emperors, a man admired for generations, a symbol of wisdom and justice. But on the night of his death, something happened, something that contradicts everything we know about him. Let's go back 3 days, March 14. Fever had been consuming Marcus Aurelius for weeks. He refused food, accepted only water. The imperial physicians were perplexed. No treatment worked. The imperial court was divided between the military camp and Rome. His son, Commodus, anxiously awaited news of the succession. But Marcus Aurelius did not want Commodus to become emperor. You probably know that. What you don't know is what he did to try to prevent it. On the afternoon of March 15, Marcus Aurelius called for his personal physician, a Greek named Galen. No, Galen had departed for Rome weeks earlier. So who was with the emperor? A man named Pitaeus, secondary physician, almost unknown, but loyal. Pitaeus entered the imperial tent at 5 in the afternoon. The sun descended over the frozen waters of the Danube. Sentries stood guard outside. Inside, only the emperor and the physician. Marcus Aurelius requested absolute silence, asked Pitaeus to come closer, and then, with a weak voice, made a request that froze the physician's blood. "I want you to help me die before Commodus arrives." Pitaeus stepped back, his hands trembled. Marcus Aurelius continued. He knew Commodus would destroy Rome, knew his son was cruel, unstable, megalomaniacal, had tried to educate him, had failed. And now, on the brink of death, he had one last card to play. He wanted to name a different successor. But for that, he needed time that Commodus would not give him. Because Commodus was on his way, and if he arrived before the official appointment, he would assume the throne, automatically. As the biological son of the emperor, he had right to the empire. It was the law. Marcus Aurelius needed to die, but not yet. Not before signing the decree. Pitaeus left the tent in a state of shock. He knew that helping the emperor control his own death would be treason, but ignoring the request would also be treason. He walked to the riverbanks. The dark water reflected the torches of the camp. He thought about fleeing, thought about disappearing into the night, but he returned. Would you do the same? If the most powerful man in the world, dying, asked for your help to save an empire, would you help or would you flee? On the morning of the 16th, Pitaeus returned to the tent. Marcus Aurelius was weaker, but his eyes still burned with determination. He showed the physician a document, written in Latin, sealed with imperial wax. In it, Marcus Aurelius named a successor, not Commodus, another man, a general, loyal, just, competent. But the document needed to be taken to the Senate, and it would only be valid if the emperor was still alive when it reached Rome. If Marcus Aurelius died before, the document would lose value. Commodus would assume power, and Rome would collapse. Marcus Aurelius then revealed his plan. He would ask Pitaeus to give him a substance, something that would delay death, something that would keep him alive long enough, just long enough. Pitaeus knew the substance, extracted from a rare plant, used in minimal doses to treat pain. But in larger doses, it could keep a body functioning even when the soul was almost departing. It was dangerous, it was unpredictable, it was unnatural. But Marcus Aurelius insisted, and Pytheas accepted. Throughout the entire day of the 16th, Pytheas administered the substance to the emperor. Marcus Aurelius floated between consciousness and delirium, but his heart kept beating, his chest kept rising and falling. He was alive, technically. The messenger departed at nightfall, carried the document, had orders to ride without stopping to Rome. 3 days of travel, maybe 4. Marcus Aurelius needed to hold on. But then something happened. On the night of the 16th, Commodus arrived at the camp. No one expected it. He rode for days, almost killing the horses, entered the camp like a hurricane, demanded to see his father. The sentries could not stop him. Commodus was the emperor's son. He was the heir. He had the right. He entered the tent and found Marcus Aurelius still alive. Pytheas was there, froze when he saw Commodus. The young prince looked at his father, looked at the physician, and realized something was wrong. Marcus Aurelius was too alive for someone so sick. His eyes were glassy but open. His breathing was shallow but steady. Commodus knew death, had seen men die in battles, had seen gladiators expire in the arena, and this was not a natural death. This was a controlled death. Commodus approached Pytheas, asked what was happening. Pytheas tried to lie, said he was just treating the emperor. Commodus didn't believe him, grabbed the physician by the neck, demanded the truth, and Pytheas, terrified, confessed. Told about Marcus Aurelius's request, about the substance, about the document, about the messenger who was already on his way to Rome. Commodus released the physician, his eyes filled with fury, but also with something else, something worse: desperation. Because Commodus knew that if that document reached Rome, he would lose everything, would lose the empire, would lose the power, would lose the purpose of his entire life. He turned to Marcus Aurelius, his father, the man who raised him, the man who rejected him until his last breath. And then Commodus did something that changed everything. Thank you for making it this far. What you are about to discover now is the darkest secret of this story, the truth that was never recorded, the action that sealed the fate of Rome. Commodus ordered Pytheas to stop administering the substance immediately. The physician hesitated. Commodus drew his sword and repeated the order. Pytheas obeyed. Without the substance, Marcus Aurelius began to crumble. His breathing became irregular, his eyes closed, his body relaxed. He was dying, this time for real. But Commodus did not wait. He approached his father, placed his hand on his chest, and whispered something. Pytheas, on the other side of the tent, didn't hear the words, but he saw the gesture. He saw Commodus press, not with force, just enough. Marcus Aurelius tried to breathe, could not. His eyes opened for a second, met his father's eyes, and then closed forever. Did Commodus kill his father? Technically, no. Marcus Aurelius was already dying, was already at the limit. But Commodus accelerated the process, pushed death forward by just a few minutes. But those minutes changed history. Because when Marcus Aurelius died, the document had not yet reached Rome, was still 2 days away, and without the emperor alive, the document had no value. Commodus assumed power, and Rome entered the darkest era since Nero. And Pytheas? He never spoke. Commodus kept him close, not as a physician, as a silent prisoner. Pytheas knew too much, and Commodus knew that he knew, so he kept him under surveillance for the rest of his life. Pytheas died 10 years later in mysterious circumstances, never left records, never told anyone. But there are fragments, burned letters, erased testimonies, rumors whispered in Rome for years. Rumors about Marcus Aurelius's last night, about the physician who saw something, about the son who did not wait. Historians dismiss these rumors as legends, as anti-Commodus propaganda. But what if they're not? What if Marcus Aurelius really tried to change the fate of Rome? What if Commodus really intervened? Think about this. A dying man tries to save an empire.
His son, desperate not to lose power, intervenes. Death arrives minutes earlier, and the world changes. Small choices, big impacts, and history never forgets. Marcus Aurelius spent his life writing about control, about acceptance, about fate, but in the end he tried to control the uncontrollable, tried to defeat death, not to live, but to die at the right moment, and he failed. Because Commodus was also playing, and Commodus had no scruples, did not have his father's wisdom, only had ambition and fear. The official history says Marcus Aurelius died of natural causes, that Commodus was the legitimate heir, that everything happened according to Roman law. But official history is written by the victors, and Commodus won. Pitaeus lost.